Welcome to our new podcast, Lift Me Up. I'm Valerie Wolfgang and this is Borut.
Borut and we are a couple and we want to share a couple of ideas, a couple of emotions, a couple of insights from our life and from our, everyday.
Yeah, maybe before we continue, we can mention why is this podcast called Lift Me Up. It was inspired by graffiti we saw on our first date.
First date.
Yeah, it was written like on the big wall, and Borut suddenly grabbed me and he lifted me up, and we took the first selfie on that day.
Yeah, so that was a few years ago, a couple of years ago. So
today, yeah,
from there on, a lot of things have changed. We are getting married very soon, in a month or two. Yeah. And a lot of things have changed. I just want to say my motivation for this podcast is to share a positive story. I'm 51. Last 10 years, I was in a very dark period when I tried to, rebuild my life. And meeting you, and I have a feeling life gave me a second chance. A chance where I can reinvent myself, where I can rebuild my life, I can become everything that I wanted, and it's really a refreshing moment that I want to share with you, and also with my kids, eventually. I'm not sure, I don't think they will watch this, but eventually they will.
Yeah, at the moment we are in our new studio. As you can see, this is the working table. For the ones who are listening, I can mention that this is the old monastery. So definitely it has rich history. It's like 700 years old, right? And it's a new space that somehow called us. We're building new life, new careers again. Yeah. I was working a lot in the arts, so for me is also this podcast is to lift both us.
Yeah.
Again.
I believe that we are both lifting us up. We are encouraging ourselves, and this is something that we are not therapists. Don't expect counseling here. Don't expect diagnosis here. We just want to. This is kind of like a diary, in a sense, what we do, how we do it, and how we support each other in everyday life.
Yeah, and maybe it's great to share this with people because Borut recently told me a story about his friend. So maybe Borut, you can share what you told me. So
basically, I just want to be very short because it's a difficult story. A few years ago, a good friend of mine came for a visit. I reached him. It was after COVID or in between COVID. I called him a couple of times. He didn't pick up the phone. And I couldn't reach him, and then suddenly he was just on my door. Hey, how are you? When do you want to go for a drink? I said, yeah, great, let's go. We talked a little bit, everything was fine. He was a pillar of a local community, the most positive guy. He was even running for mayor. He did like books, make events, many things. Like he was never into any excess, meaning like alcohol or any other thing. Very healthy guy, very fit, everything. And then a few weeks after our visit, I just heard that he ended his life. I asked what was going on, and he couldn't survive. He couldn't accept the divorce.
Completely broke him.
He completely broke him, and he couldn't see continuation of his life. And I must say, I went through very dark periods of my life in the last 10 years, and I just want to share this moment for me and for everybody else who is listening. That there is a way, but I also understand it's a very difficult way. There are no shortcuts.
Yeah, definitely in this podcast we will talk about different topics, different things that will inspire us each week, because we have a lot of things on our schedule in daily life, and definitely it will be like second chances, life after 50, also the age gap, there's some age gap between us, and all of the different challenges we go through.
Yeah. I just want to say, Valerie also went through a huge transformation, probably the hugest transformation I ever know anybody who went through. She was an artist, a very award-winning artist, went all around the world, from Singapore to United States, and she was welcome everywhere, and she was having a solo show in Vienna and so on and so on, like really big. And then she decided she wanted to change her life, and what have you, and just in 2 years, in only 2 years, so in 2 years she lost 71 kilograms, which is in pounds
140, I think.
no more,
150 or something, yeah.
150, 160
A
pounds
lot.
in 2 years.
Imagine twice my size.
Yeah.
It's like double
and,
of.
and one thing that she said was really crucial. She said, I wasn't losing my weight, although I was doing all the right things, until I could think of myself as not being overweight anymore. She was starting to think that, okay, how could I imagine if I would be skinny? And then she would then.
Yeah. I mean, we will definitely talk in one of the podcasts about maybe I would share my experience, how I went through the whole process of losing the weight, because I'm sure some of the listeners and the viewers would like to know, because constantly I'm being asked, what did you do? What is the shortcut or something like that? So one of the podcasts will be dedicated to that. But as you said, the most important thing in changing yourself is to see the end result.
Yeah.
So if you want to achieve something, the most important thing, at least in my experience, I mean, of course, there's many theories, is to see the goal, the end, the finish line. And once you see it, it's very, I mean, it's not very easy to do the whole path, but at least you know what are the next steps you need to do. And then the next thing is to create a routine, discipline, and it's a lot of work. Life is a lot of work.
Basically, if you know where you're going, then you know if you have to take left or right. But if you don't know where you're going, then you know if you're going left, right, forward or back, they're always, I don't know, it's just like a feather in the wind. So
you can start rolling in circles, and you can come to the start line again, or you can even fall, like you can go backwards.
So so I can see myself as a better man, and actually with the help of Valerie, I must say that nobody in my life was supporting me so much as she did, especially not, I mean, of course, excluding my mom and parents, but
yeah, definitely I support Borut, and when Borut says that he's becoming a better man, likewise Borut is helping me. He already mentioned my artistic career, which is now completely, I mean, it was in hibernation because Borut didn't finish the thought that I'm in the military now. So that's why is this complete change in my career. But ever since we are together, I'm now becoming more brave. I'm becoming more confident in myself to start being an artist again, because deep down, of course, I am an artist. It's like, when I think about my youth, my childhood, I went completely in the art career, like just automatically. And then later on I changed because of like life, career path.
Yeah.
But deep down, I know what I am. And with Borut, he's lifting me up to returning to myself again.
Yeah, and not excluding everything else, like we have a big plans from building a house to having build a family and so on, or upgrade the family.
Upgrading. Lifting it up
to new stages. And there are a lot of challenges. Also a gap between us. We are 16 years apart. I'm also very much concerned about longevity. So I'm doing very much everything else what I can do to make it happen. I mean, luckily that's like my natural self. I didn't have before we met. We met like 10 years ago. 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. So, but basically 15 at least. But now, when we in a new stage, we met like when we met. I also sorted up a couple of things like I was never into any substances, no alcohol or anything else. So that was like I cleaned myself already. I mean, no, I was never really. I never in my life I tried any drugs. Okay, let's say like this.
Don't do drugs.
I didn't even smoke a pot. I didn't even do that. Although my roommate, I studied in an academy for arts, so you can imagine my roommate was totally different person, just the opposite. And my friends were doing just everything else. So we will talk about that a bit later, I think. But the point what I'm trying to say is, I saw, just like she was looking at herself in the mirror, and she was thinking, it took a while to accept herself as a vision of being a thin and fit person. It took also me sometimes to realize actually I can become everything that I wanted to be after the divorce, after the many U-turns in my life.
Yeah, I think maybe even to say, Borut mentioned that I was imagining myself thin, and you said now that being fit is so important. Now
Yeah.
I can finally understand how mind and body are connected. So while I was, of course, concerned with my health, and I was also doing everything I can to not to clean myself, but in a way, to learn how to live healthy, doing healthy lifestyle. It's now impacting a lot my research. I'm doing the PhD, just finishing, and these things Borut is now mentioning about drugs, alcohol, and stuff like that, I think we will definitely touch in one of the podcasts.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
it's such a big impact people are not aware of, or at least we become aware of, but much too late in life.
It's basically a society. It has a society. It's in our society. I mean, I must tell you, because I wasn't smoking pot or drinking alcohol. It's even now, when I'm adult, like I have like, why you're not drinking alcohol? I mean, why would I? I mean, there is nothing good about it.
Yeah.
It's just like, and I have like this young lady here with me. I cannot waste my time doing silly things.
Yeah, and when I said at the beginning of the podcast that we will mention in each part what we were doing, definitely this week was intense. We were cycling a lot. We just came today from 40 kilometers cycling.
Yeah, yesterday
and
too.
yesterday too. All of these things are important. Borut had a workshop.
I had a workshop in my new atelier. We will talk about that too also later. I moved. Just imagine, not only that I moved that we lived together. I moved the places. I had to move the working space. Built a dark room and so on. It's on my YouTube channel. I'm talking about my photography path. So, but basically, I'm reinventing myself, and we are building our life from scratch.
Yeah, we are still in the process of moving everything, and as I said, this week was intense again.
Yeah. So
after the workshop, you can maybe tell the anecdote about the fitness.
Yeah, Sabrina Losso from west coast of Italy. She came for a second individual workshop to me, and we built on her. We worked on her exhibition. Anyway, after we were working from morning till evening, and it was like 7 p.m. I said, "What you gonna do now?" I said, "Well, I have to go to fitness." But what?
To the gym, yeah.
Yeah, the gym. Well, Valerie is in the fitness. She brought everything, and we have a date there,
Yeah.
and that's how it was. And
yeah, the gym for me is very important. It's not just keeping it fit, but for me it's kind of a ritual. I'm still preserving twice or 3 times per week. It reminds me also of how far I came, and every time I'm in the gym, maybe people who go to the gym definitely understand what I'm talking about, but for those of you who don't go, I think when you go to the gym, I mean, you can do workout at home or everywhere basically, but the gym for me is like a special place. It's like going to the church. There is people doing that, and when I see there's people, you know, some of them are there just maybe for a week. They just started the gym. You can already see they don't know what they're doing. But seeing them doing the work and trying hard, it's something that gives me like motivation. It keeps me going. And I'm so happy that Borut decided he will start going to the gym with me. So in the past weeks, we are going. And
and I must tell you about the gym and fitness. I'm really not. I don't like fitness. I don't like. Why? Because I did all my over. It's 25 years. I'm doing martial arts. So I love boxing. I love kicking. I love wrestling. I love being confronted. I love to be in 40s or 50s and fight like 20-year-old guys. And I love that. This adrenaline going in. But now. And I hate mirror and the, then looking at that, But, now when we are together, it's actually much easier, much more natural. And actually...
it's kind of fun thing to do together.
Also for me. Also Valerie, like she said that she's doing exercises that she wasn't doing before, just because we are doing it together.
Yeah, when in the last months or even years, I'm still going to the gym constantly, but I was constantly just doing 2 or 3 different things I was comfortable with. But once I started going with Borut, when I started, I again tried different machines, different exercises, and it's a great motivation. It's like a date night for us. One of the options.
So now I understand, there will be no shortcuts.
No shortcuts.
If you think, I'm going to get like a new knowledge, no.
No shortcuts.
No shortcuts. And even, the Chinese proverb goes like, there is no shortcut is leading you where you want to be.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and that's the point. Like, if you want to be somewhere, you have to take the path, and you have to do
the whole path,
step
by step.
Yeah, the shortcut is just like not bringing you there.
Yeah, and maybe since I'm already mentioning the plans, next week Borut is having again the new workshop in this atelier.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a busy week again, and also we're going to Canada soon. When we will be abroad, we will try to maybe do a podcast also in Canada. It's going to be a traveling thing. We will see how it goes.
Definitely.
We decided we will keep it in English for now with subtitles, but we will see in the next weeks how things go. Maybe we will also add some Slovenian.
So for you who are following, you can write a comment or send us a direct message and tell us what you want to hear from us. I want to share my story, and now I just want to share my story about how I reinvent myself, how I understand how difficult it is, especially for men in the middle age, and it's difficult. Which path and which sacrifice we need to take, I've done, and which to keep on going. We will talk also about the art, how the creativity and discipline works together.
This is usually something people don't put together. It's like creativity usually people think of a messy environment, everything is like out of order. But then the discipline, it's extremely organized, it's extremely like limited in a way. But I think when you merge those two things together, those two worlds, I think you can create something new. It's like it gives you freedom at the end to be really creative.
So basically, creativity is useful if you're a doctor or an engineer or an architect or an artist, and discipline is equally as good. You need creativity if you're in any field, and you need discipline to make it happen. So this will be definitely part of our podcast.
Yeah, and I will share also my experience from the military, because it's something I just did a few years ago. I mean, a couple of years ago, I entered the basic military training just because I was curious. It was a test. It was just a fun thing to do for me. But from that experiment, everything happened. My life completely changed. I will talk about it in one of the podcasts.
I have to sum it up because it's like so inspiring. It's a really amazing story. Just imagine she was like 135 kilos, like overweight, and then she loses like 70 kilos and said, you know what, maybe, you know, as she is authoritarian, you know, surprise, surprise! She has this nerve of authoritarian inside and said, you know what, I will do the military. Let's see if I can pass. And she passed that. She went to United States to Fulbright scholarship. Yeah. So for a PhD in artificial science. And then, you know, military call you and ask you, could you please come back and work for us, you know?
Yeah, and I entered full time in military, so the discipline is something I will talk about.
And now her artistic work, like this is what she's appreciated about, you know. I mean, of course, she has a PhD in science, but a lot of people in army they have PhDs from many fields. Her added value is actually that she can think about as a very creative person. She can think on many levels, and she's. And although I don't know any military secrets, but there is no secret. That's not a secret that, you know, many co-workers would like you to be in their team, you know, and it's like from different areas. So
yeah, and maybe since the topic of the podcast is lift me up, it's also something we do in military. It's like we are lifting each other up. The teamwork is extremely important. People are not aware, at least in generally. I think maybe, I mean, it is known that in the last decades, people started to be very individualistic. It's like people are not taking care of each other. It's just me. But in military, I learned so much how important it is to lift each other up. When I was in the most like intense military workouts or like on the field, and I couldn't carry my backpack, and everybody had huge backpacks. Everybody was dead tired, but when they saw me breaking, you know, like physically, they just grabbed my backpack. They didn't say anything. They just took me, and it's something that I think I wouldn't experience otherwise. And still, when I'm inside the military, I mean, it's a system, it's an ecosystem, it's something which is not, of course, everyday life, but I think deep down, we are all humans and we want to lift each other up. So that's going to be also the main topic of the whole podcast.
And the podcast in the future, I'm sure it will grow into a book, because I'm saying that she has to write this, because she not only in a partnership but also in the military, in the field of art, and she can really lift up people. And also I am doing my share in our relationship, and Valerie Wolfgang as an artist is coming back with the high flags, with the flags high above, right?
Yeah, so officially I think this podcast is announcing Peterlin Wolfgang Studio.
Yep.
We are inside of it already.
And that's it, right?
That's it.
So just to sum up, in our podcast will be about creativity, discipline, reinvention, midlife crisis, age gap.
A lot of personal stuff.
Very active, lots of activities, and art.
Yeah,
art
and lifting each other up.
And lifting each other up. So please leave a message if you support that.
Subscribe.
If you want to have it in English, or if you want to have it in Slovenian,
let us know. Yeah.
Let us know. Leave your thoughts, and thank you for watching.
Thank you for listening and watching.
Bye-bye. Wow!